And we are back for another meeting at the Milking Stool. This week we are covering John chapter 5, and as you might notice, we are on the couch. I decided that in conjunction or in emphasis with sort of what my takeaway from John chapter 5 was, I wanted to switch up our location, our lighting, our everything, sort of to emphasize, or not sort of, completely to emphasize the fact that God is the same regardless of where we are. God is the same regardless of who we are. God is the same regardless of what we are. And I don't know, just that was really weighed heavy on me this week, the idea of you could be in a house, you could be on a mouse, you could be in a boat, you could be in a moat. It felt very Dr. Seuss to me in that there was this very childish idea of everywhere and everything, all encompassing sort of. But that is our God. He is all encompassing. He is everywhere. There is no limit, no boundary that he is not willing or able to cross. And so just the idea of the God that's in the Bible, that you see specifically in John, that we see in Jesus, and then, the Spirit that we see at work in John is just, there's a very consistent, very honest God who is revealing himself over and over again through the words that Jesus is saying. I think that those revelations are still happening today, that there are still times in which things point to him, people point to him, circumstances point to him. But I think the disciples were busy being like, God, is that you? Is that you, God? And it probably is. We're just thick-headed and stubborn. I was specifically drawn to a few verses that I think, that are what I turned into my application sort of webs from last week. One was Christ saying, I have testimony weightier than that of John, which was verse 35. Just the idea that Christ's testimony was his actions, or is his actions, was his life, was his dying on the cross. And he basically, in that verse, is foreshadowing that happening, is saying, what I can do, what I offer you is weightier than what John has to offer. And that is still true today. What he has to offer is going to be far greater than any Bible study I can ever put in front of you right now, or even put in front of you a year from now. But just that there is this superiority, I guess, to his message. There is this this beauty in the fact that his actions and his words always lined up. Mine don't. I can tell you that right now. I know that I am the first person who's going to contradict or conflict with myself, or whose action isn't going to line up with my my faith always, because I'm just not that good, not that put together. And then he also said in a later verse, which I didn't write the number down of, verse 44, he said, how can you believe since you accept glory from one another, but do not seek the glory that comes from only God, from the only God. Just the idea of that we put such an emphasis in what other people think of us. We put an emphasis in how we feel about other people, how other people make us feel, and yet God is the ultimate in validating us, in cherishing us, in loving us, and putting our stock in these sort of corrupt markets is only really going to hurt us at the end of the day. I realize with Jason and I's marriage that it's really important to me to feel like he is supportive of my decisions, supportive of my thinking, that we're always in line, and we are two humans who grew up two different ways, who brought two different things, two different lives to the table, and as much as we mesh well, there are times when we do not agree. Times when he wants to go hiking and I would rather put bamboo shoots under my fingernails. But and those are things that I struggle with. I struggle with feeling like we're not on the exact same page at the exact same time. And yet, God is the only person who can promise to me that he's always going to understand, or he's always going to see the page I'm on. And yes, he's going to push me into the next chapter, but he can see my page, and he can validate that I'm trying, or validate that I need him, because I do, even, because sometimes I'm not trying, I'm just sucking at it all. So those were just that idea of he's everywhere, he's all around, was really beautiful. And then that said, I wanted to put up, or to share with you, a verse for the week. I decided to pick verse 30, particularly the end, but I'm going to read the whole thing. It says, "By myself I can do nothing. I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just. For," and this is the part I really loved, "I seek not to please myself, but him who sent me." I guess I just encourage you guys this week to sort of identify where you are attempting to create pleasure. Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for someone else? Are you doing it for him? And sometimes those things all align, and that's golden. But I can tell you that my mad Amazon habit is not pleasing for him or for my bank account. Probably not for my husband either. It's all for me. So I'm working on that, and I just encourage you to be honest with yourself about what you need to be working on, or what you want to work on. And if you don't have anything, I would say you really need to commit yourself to prayer there, because you do have something, you just aren't identifying it quite yet.